Okay, so we're starting off down on the floor, and this is just going to help us understand the lock behind the knee, which is one of the most important parts of your outside leg hang. If the knee isn't locked or your hips aren't in the correct position, you're going to begin to slide out of it, or you're not going to be able to take your hands off because you don't feel secure. So again, just a great conditioning tool to start off with. So what will happen is we've got knees bent, and Andrea is going to lift her hips up, and you want to make sure that you're not arching through the back, you're squeezing the glutes. You're going to bring the outside leg across, you can hold on with the pole, and hook on behind the knee until you feel it in a nice secure position. From here, you're going to extend the back leg and, if you can, take the hands off. Now, this is going to show you whether you've got a nice, strong knee lock or not. You want to make sure one of two things, that the hips are staying up towards the ceiling and not rotating in towards the pole. And you also want to make sure that you're actively engaging the leg on the pole by pressing the foot down towards the ground, okay? If this isn't actively pressing, again, you're going to start sliding because it won't feel secure behind the knee. So coming down out of that, we're going to take this up high. So we can stand up. For this demonstration, we're going to be doing the outside leg hang from an invert V. If your invert V isn't super strong just yet, or you feel like your technique is a little bit off, we do have a tutorial for that. So we'll link that in all our videos just in case you want to learn that first. Now, for the tips to go into your outside leg hang position from your invert V, we will demonstrate whilst we're upright so that Andrew isn't upside down for too long, and then we will go into the upside down tutorial and I will be able to show you the different cues for the movement. So the first thing is when you're going from your invert V to outside leg hang. Two things. You want to make sure that the chest is coming forward and you haven't collapsed through the back. That is explained in our outside leg hang tutorial. And you also want to make sure that the hips are close to pole. The very last thing is that when you are going up into the outside leg hang, that the legs are coming up towards the ceiling and then placing onto the pole and not just going V and hooking on straight away. This will make sure that the hips are staying close and that the leg hooks onto the pole above your hands. If you are finding that when you are going into the outside leg hang from an invert V and the legs are going on that top hand and it's not feeling secure, that's probably because you're going straight from V and hooking on instead of bringing legs up to ceiling. So, from your invert V position, we will then bring the legs up towards the ceiling. And as you bring the legs up towards the ceiling, you want to create a little tension pull through the arms. When you pull through the arms, again, it allows everything to be nice, strong, and controlled, and it will help shift the hips above so that the leg can go above the hand. From there, when you go into the outside leg hang, there's a couple tips you want to remember. The first tip, once the leg is on the pole, is that you want to actively press that outside leg down towards the ground and lock in and engage. If you let that leg go lazy, you will start to slip. The other couple tips is making sure that the hips are facing more towards the ceiling as opposed to turning in towards the pole and dropping back. Again, you'll lose your grip point in your shelf, and the shelf is that position in between your hip and your rib cage. And then a couple other tips to add on to this before we go into the demonstration is one, keeping that chest nice and open and those arms back. Now with the arms, you can stylize it how you want depending on what feels secure for you. You can take the hands off the pole. You don't want to leave them on because you'll curve through the spine and lose that grip point. So arms will either be directly behind you in a straight position, or you can place it on your hips, but you want to actively press the elbow back. So I'm going to get Andrea to now demonstrate this movement as I talk through the cues, but I am also going to provide some spotting just because it can be quite challenging holding these moves for a long time while someone's talking through the tips and cues for them. So Andrea is going to go into her invert V, and then I will show you the cues to go from there into that outside leg hang position. So remember the cues that I just told you and I want you to be mindful of when watching this is from the V position, the chest is forward. As she goes up into outside leg hang, both legs are coming up towards the pole. She'll do a little pull at the same time through the arms just to help get the leg above the hand, and then the leg will be placed on above that hand. And then chest forward, leg back. So Andrea's going up into that outside leg hang position. Now from here, the legs will shoot up to ceiling and she's going to go into that outside leg hang position. Now, from this outside leg hang position, the top leg, I'm just going to turn Andrea around. Just so that you can see, the top leg is actively pressing down towards the ground. The hips are up. You will have a slight rotation because again, the leg is dropping out to the behind you. That's okay, but you just don't want to rotate too much in towards the pole. So keeping hips up, keeping top leg locked, and you'll notice the chest is actively pressing forward and the back leg is pressing down towards the ground actively. From here, you can take the top hand off first always, so top hand off, and I will explain for that why in a second, and then the bottom hand can come off, hands back or hands on your bum. Perfect, and then coming down, place the hands back on, and back down. So I'm just going to explain a couple more extra tips for you after you try it, just because there's a lot of tips in one to remember when going into it. So those extra tips, the first one is when you have your back leg coming behind you, sometimes because you're upside down and you have no idea what's going on and everything gets confusing, the legs go a bit wild, okay? Because we're just trying to hold on to the pole and hold on for dear life. So there's two options for that back leg. You want to actively press it back, trying not to over rotate until you're feeling strong and secure in your outside leg hang. Once you are in that position, you can stylize it how you want as long as you're feeling secure in it. So you can bring the back leg straight behind you, or if you find that the leg tends to stay up a bit because, again, wild legs are upside down, no idea what's going on, you can think of pressing the foot down towards the ground along with the knee. So you don't just want to squeeze the foot to bum, you want to actively press the knee down towards the ground. So we'll get Andrea to demo again, and I'll just go over those little cues again. So she's going to go into outside leg hang, and no spotting for this one. So inverted V outside leg hang. As she goes into that outside leg hang, she shoots the legs up to ceiling and places it on the pole. From here, top leg is nice and locked, back leg is actively pressing down. Now if we do the other version, foot to bum and knee is pressing down. And then when you go to take hands off, always take the top hand off first, then you can take the bottom hand off and then place on your bum. Chest is forward, and we've got a nice and beautiful outside leg hang. And you can come back down. So I know that you guys probably can notice that I'm mentioning always take the top hand off first. Just the reason for that is if you do find that your hand is a little trapped, again, each body type is different and it may press onto the top hand. If you take the top hand off first, you may need to loosen that top leg just a little bit. If you need to loosen it to get it out from under the leg, if it has gone into that position, you still have a hand nice and secure on the pole so that you won't slip and fall off. So if you are going into outside leg hang and your hand is a little bit trapped, always take the top hand off first, and then you can take the bottom one off. And that is our outside leg hang tutorial.